Peugeot is on something of a roll at the moment. Its last few creations, the 3008, the 508 and most recently the 208, not only have bags of style, but also the substance to back it up. And the latest to continue the brand's transformation is this, the 2008.
And it's a car that Peugeot needs to get right because the compact SUV class is packed to the shiny black roof rails with talented competition. So is this thing any good?
It'll need to be if it's going to nick sales from rivals as talented as the latest Nissan Juke and Renault Captur, plus our current class favourite, the Skoda Kamiq. The 2008 is the latest in a series of PSA releases to use the brand's common modular platform. Not only is CMP versatile enough to come in 3 different wheelbases, but it's able to house both combustion-driven and electrified powertrains. The 208 was the first Peugeot to use it, but where the little supermini turned out pretty and elegant, the 2008 is just a little more wacky. The side is covered in mad angles and sharp creases, and the front has this slightly goofy face. It looks great around the back though, where it's like a smaller, sharper version of the 3008. The flat bonnet and chunky wheel arches are all very SUV.
But it's on the inside where the 2008 really looks its stylish best. It looks unlike anything else in this class and it makes rivals like the VW T-Cross just look so dull. I love these little piano keys here to control the venting and the window heating. There's lots of squidgy plastics everywhere. It's just a really cool thing to sit in. Now my favourite thing inside the 2008 are these digital dials. They have a really cool 3D effect which is created by layering 2 screens on top of each other. They look absolutely stunning. It's just a shame I can't really see them because if I put the steering wheel where I want, then the top of the rim is blocking the view.
But this really depends on your build and how you like to sit. Some people love it, but others struggle to get along with it. I've even found it fine on some other Peugeots, and that's not the only thing that's not quite right ergonomically. The infotainment system isn't the easiest to work your way around, and you have to adjust the temperature through the touchscreen, which is a pain. Peugeot has refined and improved the layout by adding a couple of touch-sensitive shortcuts behind the piano keys, but it's still not as easy to use as the physical dials that Renault has kept in the Captur.
The 2008's wheelbase is 65mm longer than that of the 208 hatchback, and you really notice that in the back. Legroom is pretty generous, there's lots of foot room under the seats, it's pretty spacious back here. There is a little hump in the centre of the floor though, and unlike the Renault Captur, you can't get a sliding rear bench.
But it's pretty competitive for the class space-wise, and the 3 ISOFIX points, 2 in the back, 1 on the front passenger seat, mean that it's great for young families, while the kids can keep their devices topped up with a couple of USB ports. At 434 litres, the boot is pretty roomy too, but rivals with a sliding rear bench like the Captur can offer you more if you're willing to sacrifice legroom. But what versatility it lacks on the inside, the 2008 more than makes up for it under the bonnet.
Now, the 2008 is quite unusual in this class because it's one of the only cars that comes with a choice of petrol, diesel and electric powertrains. The one I'm driving here is going to be the only diesel option in the UK, a 1.5 litre with 99 bhp. And it's not bad at all really, it's quite smooth, the power delivery is nice, and it should be pretty frugal too.
As well as the diesel, there's also 3 petrols to choose from, making 99, 128 and 153 brake horsepower. After driving the 2 more powerful options, it seems like the 128 horsepower version has got more than enough shove. It'd be the one that we'd go for. However, the all-electric E2008 is the nicest to drive of the bunch. It makes 134 bhp from a single motor, and its instant torque and smooth delivery make it the easiest and most relaxing to drive. Power is drawn from a 50 kWh battery, which is good for a 199 mile range on the WLTP testing cycle. Using a 100 kilowatt rapid charger, it's possible to top up the battery from 10 to 80% in 30 minutes. But whichever version you pick, the 2008 feels pretty smart to drive.
Back in the 80s and 90s, Peugeot always had a reputation for producing cars which delivered a really smart balance between ride and handling. Now it did lose its way for a little while, but this 2008 is actually pretty tidy to drive.
It's not quite the sharpest handling car in its class, and 1 or 2 are possibly just a little more comfy, but it comes pretty close to the top of the class in both areas.
Now one thing that is worth noting is that on a motorway run, the 2008 seems to suffer from quite a bit of wind noise around the door mirrors and the A-pillar, but overall it's still a pretty relaxing car to drive over long distances.
The 2008 will eventually come in 4 trims: Active, Allure, GT Line and GT, and all of them come with plenty of kit. The GT Line model is the first available to reserve in the UK, and as standard it gets 18-inch alloy wheels, LED headlights, half leather upholstery, heated front seats and interior ambient lighting. Buyers also get that glorious digital instrument binnacle, if you can see it, and a 10-inch touchscreen infotainment system with built-in nav, a reversing camera, and both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. However, there is a price to pay for the 2008, literally in fact. In GT line trim and paired with a 128 horsepower engine, it'll set you back £26,100. That's a big sum when you consider that you can get a Renault Captur with the same power for over £4,000 less. And I'm afraid with those figures, it makes the 2008 much harder to justify. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to our channel, switch on the channel notifications, and leave your comments in the box below.